Today, we are going to go through how to fix underperforming Facebook ads. My name is Chuck. I've spent over $40 million in social media ad spend. Let's get into it. First things first, you've identified an ad that's underperforming. You've identified that it's underperforming in some aspect, but now we want to dive in to actually identify the problem with that ad. So we can break this down into 3 steps: creative, targeting, and optimization. With creative, your ad just isn't grabbing people's attention. With targeting, it's you're showing your ad to the wrong people. Or optimization, the goal of your ad, like sales or leads, doesn't match the setup in Ads Manager. So you might be running an awareness ad to a sales objective or a sales ad to an awareness objective. So this is number 1. Number 2, we're going to go dive into the issues that it could be with your ad. And we're going to break it down into parts. So we want to break it down into the entire purchase journey right now to figure out exactly where the bottlenecks are with the ad and where it's underperforming and what that can be correlating to and what we need to focus on to make it better. So let's dive into it. So the first issue is high CPM. And the reason for this could be your ad doesn't feel helpful or interesting to your audience. Now, a high CPM doesn't always mean it's a bad thing. You can have a high CPM, but also have a highly targeted ad that is getting a low cost per result. So you want to pair a high CPM with underperformance in other areas with your ad. So a high CPM is just like one indicator. It's not the whole picture. So you want to definitely use it in combination with other parts of your ad. Next is below average quality engagement or conversion rate ranking. And this is at the ad level. Your conversion rate ranking or your engagement rate or quality rate ranking. People just aren't clicking, liking, or buying from your ad. Meta Ads Manager has basically indicated that your ad does not get good engagement from people. People are not as interested in it. And the more that you improve that, the better your quality scores are going to go up. And also, not every format has this. Some formats don't have rate rankings. If they don't, then it is what it is. You can't look at it for that specific ad. You just really want to look at it in context to, is it showing that overperformance? Or if it's not, then let's look for other areas of identifying underperformance with the ad. Okay. Next is low click-through rate. And basically with the click-through rate, it can mean that your offer isn't exciting enough to make people want to click. The whole reason of people wanting to click through on your ad is whatever your ad is saying and what it's offering. So for them to want to take that next step, it's got to be enticing enough to them to make them want to be clicking through. So that could be explaining a low CTR. It's often offer focused or messaging focused within the ad for them to take that next step. And that's where we will be looking to improve it in the next step from here. Next issue that you want to look at is a low 3-second view rate, also called a hook rate. So a reason for this being low could be your ad doesn't catch attention fast. So the first few seconds of the ad are weak. If you don't have a good hook, your creative is going to underperform. And if you can't get a good hook and you can't get people to view the first 3 seconds, if it's a video ad, then the rest of your ad is destined to fail. So you want to make sure that this is as enticing as possible, that you're reeling people in, and relevant people. Of course, you want to be calling out the proper prospects. You want to be calling out the proper audience, but you want to do it in a way that's enticing for whoever is that proper audience, because if you're getting higher view rates and it is highly relevant people, and of course you want the best people possible, then that will feed back to Ads Manager to help it with the context needed to be pushing it out to more highly relevant people. And this goes into quality engagement and conversion rate rankings, because if you have a good hook, that's good engagement. And if it has good engagement, it'll improve the rankings and therefore lower the CPM. Okay. Next that we can look at, a drop-off rate. So if it has a high drop-off rate, this is the rate of people clicking on the ad to when they actually load the page, the landing page of your ad. And if there's a high drop-off rate between that, so you have a high number of people clicking and a low amount of people actually loading the page or getting a session from that ad, it can indicate that people are clicking by mistake, the page takes too long to load, or your landing page doesn't match the ad. So people clicking by mistake, it could just be that there's something on the ad that's making people click and then immediately bounce off. So it could be misleading in that aspect when people are clicking. It could also be, unfortunately, bots at some times. So you want to check the placements that it's serving and the unique link clicks and a few different things that we'll make other videos on, honestly, about diving into bot traffic. But we'll just, for now, for these purposes, we're going to want to just look at people clicking by mistake, and that could be a high number of link clicks. Second is the page takes too long to load. So from when they do click on the ad to when they actually load the page, there's some delay there, and we would want to look to improving the page speed. Or your landing page doesn't match the ad. So if people immediately see when they land on your website that it does not match the messaging of the ad, or that it looks completely different, or that the offer isn't the same, this is going to affect your drop-off rate. Of course, they're going to want to bounce off that page as quick as possible because it doesn't have congruence to your ad. So you want to make sure your landing page is as congruent as possible. And next one that we can look at is add to cart rate. So when people land on your website to when they add to cart, what is the percentage of that comparatively to people clicking on your ad? So if you have a low add to cart rate, it could indicate a weak offer, a product page mismatch to the ad, or just low interest generated from the ad. So you might have an ad that does enough to get people to click through, but then they don't follow through or even just take that next level of engagement. So maybe it's enticing enough to get them to click through onto the page, but after they're learning more about the product or what's actually on the page, they're not following through, or they're not properly prepped from the ad itself. So the ad doesn't convey enough information that will make people want to add it to cart. Okay. Next is a low percentage of people purchasing after adding to cart. So after someone adds to cart, what's the rate of them purchasing? And this can show you a lot about the checkout process, but it could also indicate a lack of follow through from your ad, or they lose interest after adding the item to cart for some reason. So this can indicate a few things. It can indicate a lack of follow through or interest from the ad itself. It could indicate bottlenecks in the checkout process, so the ease of checkout or things from there. If it's difficult for the people to check out, or if they just straight up can't check out because of their region or something like that, that will also all be displayed in this data. Or they just lose interest for whatever reason after adding the item to cart. So maybe they're seeing the final purchase price after shipping, or they're seeing the shipping amount or anything from there, and they're losing interest after adding it. They're saying, maybe it's not that great of a deal after all, or there's also just not enough payment options. So it can really, really be a lot of different things here. So moving on now, this is the whole process that I just went over. So the whole process from when your ad is served to someone, to when they view your ad, to them clicking through on your ad, to when they load your website, to they add to cart or initiate the checkout, and then when they complete the purchase. So going into that, from the first 3 seconds after someone's shown your ad, the first 3 seconds is that hook rate. That's where the hook is. And then from there, they click your ad. And then that difference from the click to page load, that is your drop-off rate. And then from when they're on your page and they load your website, that percentage of people from clicking on your ad to add to cart, that is your add to cart rate. One reason that I do just want to go into why you might be asking why we're looking at link clicks to add to cart rather than page load to add to cart. Now, one reason here is certain verticals will have a higher percentage of people opting out to browser tracking or cookies compared to others. So for that reason, I've just found it a little bit more reliable to be looking at link clicks relative to add to cart and taking the percentage of that, because you're actually getting a more accurate view on who's clicking on your ad versus when they're adding it to cart. When you're in like GA4 or somewhere, an analytics platform, it might only be looking at page sessions. So it's actually good to have both views, definitely. But for ads manager purposes, I tend to look at link clicks to add to cart. Now, I understand there are some caveats here. Like if you do have a large number of people clicking and bouncing off, this is why I look at drop-off rate, that it can deflate the add to cart rate. But I know to look at those metrics and to use them together to get the full picture, that I'm aware of that. But that's just something to be aware of, that if there are a high amount of people clicking on your ad and then they're dropping off, that's going to affect your add to cart rate without them ever even essentially seeing your website or getting the chance to add to cart. So it's just something to keep in mind, but hopefully you're looking at this in context to other ads within your campaign. So you kind of have a level playing field of a picture. It's not just only related to that ad, this specific problem. Okay. And then from when they add to cart to completing the purchase, that is the add to cart to purchase rate. And that can tell us a few things like what are the bottlenecks in the checkout process. That we'll go over a little bit deeper. High level overview of all of this. You have CPM that is assigned immediately when your ad is served. You have your click-through rate that's happening from the ad itself. And then when they're clicking through on your ad, from when they click through to when they purchase, that is your conversion rate. I think this is very helpful for understanding the entire process of someone seeing your ad to them actually purchasing. And it's better to look at this in pieces because pieces will tell you the full story. If you're only looking at one metric here, it's not going to tell you the full story. So if you're only looking at conversion rate or you're only looking at purchase rate relative to impressions, it's not going to tell you the proper story, and it's not going to identify exactly where your ad might be failing. So understanding this whole picture and understanding the pieces that make up the whole picture is super, super important to understanding why your ad is underperforming and to improve it and fix it. Moving on, now that we've identified our problem, we want to figure out how to fix this problem with our ad. So how do we fix it? Well, if your issue is a high CPM paired with issues that you've identified of the other things that we went through, then that's like a confirmation signal. There are things to fix in the ad, and there's multiple things there, and fixing the rest of these ad issues will also positively impact the high CPM because it will make it more relevant, it'll make it more engaging to the audience, and therefore the system will assign lower CPMs and lower the cost because it wants to push that up in the ad auction to show it to people. Meta rewards you for having engaging creative. That is one thing to drill home. You get rewarded by having engaging creative. The ad platforms, just like the organic algorithm, they want you spending time on the platform, and they reward when videos make people spend more time on the platform. So when your videos have a high average watch time, those videos get pushed up higher in the algorithm. So similar with the ad algorithm, if your ad is getting high engagement and they have a positive experience from the ad that you're showing them, it's going to assign a lower CPM, and it will be pushed up in auctions, and it will be served more to higher value people, and it will just be served more at a lower cost overall. And therefore that'll affect your cost per results. So you always want to look at your CPM paired with other metrics within your ad. So then going down the line now, below average quality engagement or conversion rate ranking, or a low CTR. How to fix this at a creative level, so just the creative, excluding the offer for a second. You could test new ad variations, headlines, images, colors, formats, anything visually within the ad itself that's within the same offer, within the same context of the same offer at least. So anything that's within that, you can try updating that. If you are set on your offer, then update anything with ad variations, headlines, images, colors, formats. Okay. Now, next step would be just updating the offer. So testing new offers for your ad. You could test a new offer. You can also add urgency, testimonials, or social proof to give more context around that offer. Now, if you have a low 3-second view rate or a low hook rate, you could try new ways to grab attention in the first few seconds: visuals, text, sound. You have 3 different levels of hooks. You have a visual hook, a text hook, or a audio hook. That's the sound. So you can use them all together, or you could use one. It's really up to you and whatever's going to be the most impactful for your video, but you can play around with all of these to improve that 3-second view rate. Focus a lot of time in the first 3 seconds if it's a video. If it's not a video, if it's an image, think of it in a similar way. Now it's the first 1 second because that's the first impression or first thing that people are seeing with your ad if it's an image. So think of it in a similar way. Your hook is super important, and you want to spend a lot of time on this. Next is if you have a high drop-off rate, and that's the issue you've identified for that, a fix could be verifying pixel and event tracking. You can optimize the cookie banner on the page load or the page load speed. And then you could also make sure the landing page is highly relevant to the ad. So just as we went over before, verifying pixel and event tracking, you want to make sure that the pixel is actually tracking right, that server-side events are set up and browser events are set up, so the pixel code is on your website and firing properly for all the events, and also the server-side events are set up properly and there's deduplication, that they're tracking properly, pretty much simply put. You also want to optimize the cookie banner on the page load, because if there's a big in-your-face cookie banner, that's automatically going to put them off. So make it pleasing to look at, make it easy for them to just accept when it loads on the page. That will improve the rate of people opting in. So just as conversion rate optimization that we're talking about here is important, that also plays into your cookie banner too. You want to optimize the cookie banner that's actually loading on your website to get enough people to opt in and get more people being tracked. Because not everyone just wants to get rid of cookies. Some people just hate the cookie banner pop-ups. So you want to make sure those people are still able to opt in and that it's just easy as possible for people that don't really care. Also, making sure the landing page is highly relevant to the ad. So again, if your ad is conveying a totally different offer than what's on your landing page when people get to it, people are going to be put off by that. It's kind of like promoting one product in the ad and then they land on the page and they see something totally different. What do you think people are going to do? They're going to bounce off that page really quickly, and that could all add up into a high drop-off rate. Now, a low add to cart rate, this is from when someone clicks on your website or lands on your website to when they add to cart. You could optimize the landing page and product page, make sure that the offer is displayed on the product page, or add countdown timers and inventory. That's just some of the ways, but a big thing here is conversion rate optimization. You want to make sure that what people are seeing on the landing page is properly conveying the offer and a need for them to be wanting to add to cart. You just want to make it as enticing as possible and properly conveying the benefits of the product. The ease to do things when on your website is going to be the single most important thing. You need to eliminate friction as much as possible for people who are qualified and actually want to be spending money on your product. Now, if you have a low percentage of people purchasing after adding to cart, you want to make the checkout easier. Maybe you want fewer steps, faster payment options like Apple Pay, and offer buy now, pay later. So what this is telling you is there's a bottleneck in your checkout process. So a fix is just making the checkout process easier, or also conveying that within your ad. There might not be enough follow through from the ad, and the offer might not be strong enough on your ad that when people are clicking through, they're not wanting to follow through and purchase. They might just be more exploratory, landing on your landing page and reading out and finding more information about your product. But when they do add to cart, you want to consider that there is a big indication there to be buying. So you want to think checkout process from there. Making the checkout process easier, fewer steps. If there's too many steps in your checkout process, it's going to automatically put people off. Again, just remember, these people want to spend money with you if they're adding to cart and then initiating checkout. These people want to spend money on your product, so you want to make it as easy as possible for them to spend money with you. If you have an option like Apple Pay on there, they could just click on their phone to pay. Maybe they don't want to manually enter in their address or all their information, so make an option that when they start entering in their address, that it automatically can pop up and they can click and add it all in there. Just make it as easy as possible, and then from there they could pay with Apple Pay by a click. But also now, buy now, pay later has been really big in recent time. So adding this option, you're lowering the barrier for people to be purchasing and you're removing friction. So maybe if someone knows that they'll have the money in a week, maybe they don't have it today, you can say, well, you can do buy now, pay later. You can do that now, and then you can have a payment plan that's handled with Afterpay, whoever it is. But having that will also help eliminate friction. And these are all of the ways that you can be fixing these specific issues that you've identified in your ad. Now, the next thing from there, how to actually put this into action and scale your ads. So an example strategy that is highly, highly effective. Again, this is going to depend on your business, but an example strategy is testing angles, offers, and concepts with static images. Static images are much easier to create than videos or other formats. They require much less work and they could be put into market much, much quicker. So testing angles, offers, and concepts with static images. Test multiple at once and then find the top performers from there. From there, once you've identified a couple top performing concepts, angles, offers, you can make variations of that. And then once you've found some winners in the variations of the top performers, now you can expand the formats of the outperformers. So what this is doing is it's making it super quick for you to get to market with static images. It's completely lowering the time for you to find winning ads. And then you're making variations of those ads. And now then, only when you found a winning concept and a winning variation of that concept, now you can expand the formats of those outperformers. And some formats can include video, UGC, influencers. You can send it out to influencers and give them that script, carousel ads, or collection ads. Now this is when you could get creative and expand all the formats because you know that this idea is a winning idea. And now all you have to do is find the best format. After that, you have now found the top performing angle offer concept, the top performing variation of that idea, and then you found the top performing format of that variation of that winning idea. You have found a complete winner now. Once you've done that and you have a complete winner, you can add that into a scaling campaign. So if you're running a purchase objective, this is a separate campaign that is only your top performing ads in it. This is a great strategy for you to do for your brand or your business that works for multiple objectives. Honestly, whatever your goal is, if it's leads, if it's purchases, any lower funnel objectives is perfect for this strategy. It's eliminating so much time for finding winning creatives, and it's allowing you to scale faster, scale better and smarter, and flooding the market with your winning creatives. All right, that is it for how to fix underperforming Facebook ads. I really hope this video was helpful for you. If you like this, watch the video that is on the right. There's plenty more. I just started this channel. There's so much more coming, and I really hope you enjoyed this. Be ready for more content. Make sure you subscribe. Again, I've spent over $40 million on social media ads alone. Book a call today and we will develop a winning paid social media strategy for your business done for you. Thank you for watching. I will see you all in the next one.